This is Red Hunt, and today we've got a story that had people completely hooked. I am a 23-year-old female who works late hours, usually returning home between 11:00 p.m. and 12:00 a.m. and occasionally as late as 1:00 a.m. I do not own a vehicle, but my workplace is within walking distance. My father, who is 59 years old, took it upon himself to pick me up from work during these late hours to ensure my safety. This arrangement continued for nearly a month until my father asked me to walk home one night. I assumed he was busy and did not question it. However, when I arrived home, I noticed his car was parked in front of the house and he was in his sleepwear, watching television in his room. I chose not to dwell on it. On another occasion, I had a closing shift and asked him in advance if he could pick me up. He agreed, but later instructed me to walk home. It became clear to me that he no longer wanted to pick me up, so I began walking home alone during late hours and would find him sleeping soundly in bed upon my arrival. Before I left home one evening, I informed my father that my friends, a 24-year-old female and a 26-year-old male, and I were going to see a movie at the theater and hang out afterward. He approved and encouraged me to enjoy the film since he had already seen it. I left home at 8:15 p.m. for the 8:30 p.m. showing, which concluded around 10:30 p.m. After the movie, we stopped by a store near my house to get drinks. We parked in the lot next to my home and spent time in the car talking about the film, work-related issues, and sharing memes. We were having so much fun that we lost track of time, and I did not get inside my house until 2:30 a.m. When the evening ended, my friends exited the car, walked me to my door, and ensured I got inside safely before saying goodbye. Once I was in, I saw my father sound asleep in his room and went to bed. The next morning, I was awakened by a knock at my bedroom door. It was my father, who asked me 3 times what time I had come home. I told him it was 2:30 a.m. He expressed that it was disrespectful not to inform him I would be out that late and insisted that I should have called or texted him. He mentioned that he had fallen asleep but woke up at 1:00 a.m. to check if I was home and then fell asleep again. He also asked how I got home, and when I told him my friends had dropped me off, he interrupted and told me to never do that to him again. I checked my phone for any missed messages or calls, but there were none from him. You did the right thing, honestly. You're an adult, and it's much safer to be with friends than walking home alone late at night. I mean, it's kind of suspicious that your dad expects you to keep him updated when he doesn't even check on you. If he was really worried, he should have stayed awake or at least reached out to you. You went out with friends, had fun, and got home safely, so it seems like you handled it well. Plus, you told him your plans beforehand, so it's not like you were hiding anything. It's a bit straight up wrong for him to blame you for not letting him know when he was already asleep. Communication goes both ways, right? Just keep being responsible and maybe have a chat with him about expectations. Am I the jerk for refusing to be voluntold to sleep over and care for a family member with dementia? Here's the situation. My grandmother on my mother's side has moderate dementia and is mostly bedridden. For the past year or so, I have been helping take care of her every Sunday for about 8 hours. I receive $100 for that day. My girlfriend, who is 23 years old and works full-time, usually accompanies me. She drives over on Saturday night, which is about an hour's drive, sleeps over, and then we wake up early to be there all day on Sunday. After that, we drive back to her place, which takes over an hour. It is a lot, and we have been doing it consistently. My father is kind of the one running the whole situation. He hired a couple of family friends who live nearby to be at the house 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They are paid for their work and handle the main day-to-day caregiving. My widowed father also drops in several times a week to manage supplies, medications, and check-ins, but he does not stay overnight. Now those caregivers are taking a week or 2 off for a vacation. Instead of arranging for alternate professional coverage, my father told me that I would be sleeping over one of the weekend nights to help cover. My pregnant sister is doing another night. I declined immediately, and both my father and sister started to lay guilt on me. They asked me why I did not want to help. They mentioned that it is my grandmother and that we all have to do things we do not want to do. They also expressed that they did not want to help either, but someone had to step up. I understand where they're coming from. I truly do. I already feel guilty because I see how much my father is doing. However, I also feel that I am contributing every week and I am not a trained caregiver. Sleeping overnight alone with someone who has dementia carries a different level of responsibility, both physically and emotionally. It is not something I feel safe or equipped to handle. Furthermore, I have begun to wonder if a professional care facility might be the better long-term option. I realize that may sound harsh. My grandmother still remembers us and genuinely enjoys our presence, but this arrangement does not feel sustainable. Overall, I am very burnt out from doing this every weekend. Expressing that makes me feel like a bad person. I am not refusing to help at all, but I am setting a boundary regarding something I am not comfortable or prepared to do. However, now I feel as though I am being made to seem selfish or ungrateful. Am I the antagonist? You're definitely doing the right thing here. Caring for someone with dementia is really tough, both physically and emotionally. I mean, if you're not trained for it, it's completely smart to set those boundaries. Maybe look into some respite care options, especially if they're available in your area. That could really help your grandma adjust if she needs full-time care later on. Plus, it gives you a break, which is a big deal. You really need to communicate your feelings to the family clearly. Let them know you're not comfortable with overnight care. Honestly, it sounds like it's time for everyone to talk about a long-term plan for her care. Both you and your grandma deserve some peace of mind. Aitah for mentioning money. I am a 39-year-old female and my fiancé is a 37-year-old male. We have been together for 8.5 years and he has lived with me for 8 of those years. In the beginning, we discussed him contributing to the bills at a rate of $125 per week, which was what he was paying before. He paid a few times and then stopped. After his hours were cut, I felt uncomfortable asking him for contributions. He became frustrated with his job, and seeing his depression and burnout, I agreed to support him financially with over $1,000 per month while he trained for something new or sought a new job. He originally promised that I would not have to do any chores while he was a stay-at-home boyfriend, but he soon forgot that promise. Around the 12-month mark, I expressed my concerns about finances, needing help, and the importance of equality in our relationship. Most of his time was spent getting stoned and playing video games. By the 15th month, he found a job. I pay 95% of the bills, which include the mortgage, electricity, gas, water, sewer, garbage, internet, television, groceries, restaurants, and over $5,000 annually in travel expenses. This is for him and his daughter, who lives with us 30% of the time. I love her as if she were my own, and I would do anything for her if she asked. I do not mind covering many expenses, but all I ask in return is for help. Recently, I wheeled the trash cans out before leaving for work at 6 p.m. on Sunday, knowing they would be emptied Monday morning. When I returned home on Tuesday morning, the cans were still there, making it impossible for me to park. I was frustrated, especially since 3 people could have pulled them back in, so I did it myself. When I walked in, I slammed the door out of frustration, which was not appropriate, and I apologized for my behavior. Fast forward a month and my fiancé put the cans out and was responsible for pulling them in. When I got home from work, he seemed cold and obviously upset. I asked what was wrong and he mentioned that he had to deal with the trash cans and brought up that I had blown up at him a month ago for the same reason. I clarified that my frustration was not about having to do it, but rather that I take out the trash half the time while our daughters do it the other times. Since I pay the bills, I feel it is fair to ask him to wheel the cans out. He reacted by accusing me of always bringing up money, which I believe I have only mentioned a few times in our 8.5 years together. So I am asking the community of Reddit, am I the antagonist in this situation? I appreciate your honesty and insights, as I am always working to improve myself. Thank you for your time and perspective. For real though, why are you engaged to this guy? Seriously, what does he actually bring to the table? I mean, it looks like you're doing all the heavy lifting while he just chills and plays video games. You're probably handling most of the childcare for your daughter, too. You deserve a partner, not someone who just takes from you. Honestly, this mess feels more like financial abuse, especially if he's using your daughter to keep you tied down. He's acting like a leech, not a fiancé. If he's shown you nothing but disrespect, it's definitely time to rethink this relationship. So wise up and really consider what you want. You deserve way better than this sugar mama mess. Am I the jerk for asking the host not to serve alcohol at the Hangout? I am a 22-year-old female college student, and I am part of a friend group that includes individuals of mixed genders, all aged between 21 and 23. This group formed as a subgroup of a band club I am involved in, so while I do know everyone in the group, there are definitely some members I know better than others. We typically have a hangout every other week, hosted by different people, but it usually takes place at one apartment shared by 4 individuals in the friend group. I am not very close with these 4 individuals, but I have interacted with them frequently and have never had any issues until now. These hangouts usually consist of us chatting and sometimes playing video games such as Mario Kart or Super Smash Bros., providing a pretty relaxed atmosphere. However, every time these 4 host, one of them, whom I will refer to as Jessica, brings alcohol. Most of my friends end up getting drunk, while I choose not to drink. My friends are aware of my decision to abstain from alcohol, so they feel comfortable drinking, knowing that I will be the responsible, sober person. This has never really been an issue for me, as I honestly find it amusing to look after my friends when they are drunk. However, I never truly get to relax at these hangouts since I am always on alert to ensure they do not engage in reckless behavior. I want to clarify that my choice not to drink alcohol is not related to alcoholism, religion, or any past trauma. It is simply a personal choice. We have a hangout planned for this upcoming Friday. I am writing this on a Monday, and I have had a really stressful couple of weeks with exams and interviews. I just want to be able to relax and enjoy time with my friends without having to take on the role of the responsible person this week. So I reached out to Jessica on Discord and asked if she would be willing to refrain from serving alcohol at this week's hangout. I expressed that I would really like to relax and hang out with everyone without the responsibility of being the sober one. Jessica responded by saying, "It is not your place to say whether or not people can drink. If you do not want to be around drunk people, then just do not show up. Do not try to control others just because you choose not to drink." I have not reached out to anyone else because I am feeling very confused. This response feels quite hostile to me, and I am wondering if I missed some kind of social cue. I never intended to be controlling or judgmental. I just want one hangout where I do not have to take on the responsibility. So am I the antagonist in this situation? For real though, you don't have to be the responsible, sober friend if you don't want to. I mean, it's cool that you don't drink, but asking the host to change their plans, that's pretty rude. If your friends enjoy drinking, just let them do their thing. And hey, if it's not your vibe, maybe consider finding new friends or hosting your own sober hangout. You could also ask a close friend to stay sober for support, but that's a personal request. Just remember, you're not obligated to babysit anyone. If this whole mess stresses you out, it might be best to skip it. You can definitely choose not to attend. Just keep in mind that you can't dictate what others do at a gathering you're not hosting. Am I the jerk for telling my friend that their cat is ruining their life? My friend, who is 20 years old and I will call her Abby, has a cat named Toby. At 17 years old, she moved out from her abusive parents to another city. While studying and living there, Abby found a homeless, injured cat. She took care of it, took it to the veterinarian, and eventually decided to keep the cat. Now, at 20 years old, Abby cannot afford to continue living in another city due to rising rent prices and the expenses for the cat's food, litter, and medicine. She returned to live with her parents, who are abusive both mentally and physically towards her. Every time we meet, she expresses her distress about her mother abusing her and Toby. She often shares her desire to leave that environment and her struggles with finances. We live in a small city with approximately 20 apartments available for rent. I offered to help her financially with the deposit and attempted to assist her in finding an affordable apartment. However, almost all of the available apartments do not allow pets, which made it difficult to find a suitable option. I usually work abroad with my boyfriend and Abby's boyfriend. The agency is currently seeking one more person to join us. I suggested to Abby that it would be beneficial for her to join us, as she could earn a lot of money and enjoy some female companionship during the experience. Abby mentioned that she did not have anyone who could take care of her cat. I proposed a couple of solutions, such as leaving Toby with my friend or her sister, who agreed to care for him temporarily. However, Abby refused, insisting that no one could take care of Toby like she does, as he requires special litter, food, and other specific care. Yesterday, during a walk, Abby told me that her mother had damaged her setup and that Toby is scared of her. She shared her financial struggles and her desire to leave her current living situation. After hearing the same concerns repeatedly, I became frustrated and reminded her that I had offered her solutions. I pointed out that her mother is often mean, particularly because of Toby's behavior, and that she cannot find an apartment or work with us because of her commitment to her cat. I suggested that she might consider giving the cat away or finding someone to care for him temporarily so she could earn some money, invest in herself, and eventually move out of her parents' home. Abby became upset and told me that I do not understand her situation. She insisted that Toby is the most important thing in her life and that she would not give him up for anyone. Now she is not speaking to me. So am I in the wrong for telling my friend that her cat is negatively impacting her life? It sounds like your friend could really use a little less pressure from her mom and a bit more support from Toby. I mean, the whole home mess is tough and that's a big deal. If she's not ready for your help, it's totally okay to pump the brakes. Sometimes people just want to vent instead of finding solutions, you know. You can't really help someone who isn't looking for it. It's important to respect her choices and let her handle things the way she wants. She really cares about that cat, and that's a valid feeling. So instead of pushing for solutions, maybe just check in and see if there's something else she wants to talk about. Keeping it light could really help her feel better. Just be there for her in the way she needs. Am I the jerk for not repaying my friend, and now they won't talk to me until I do? Hello, I have been thinking about this situation for a few days, and I am unsure whether I am in the wrong or if my friend is. I am currently in college 5 days a week and have a placement on the weekend. My friend and I used to go out every Sunday to the park to stay close. My friend wanted to go bowling and use the arcade machines for a day out. I could not afford it on the day she chose, so I suggested a different day and a different activity. However, she did not want to change the plan and offered to pay for me. I declined her offer because I would need to pay her back, and I do not have time to work due to my college schedule. She insisted that I would not have to pay her back immediately and that I could cover the next outing instead. I agreed and spoke to my mother, who provided me with a discount for bowling because it was her birthday soon. I sent the discount to my friend to help us save money, and she confirmed that it worked. On the day we went out, my mother also gave me £5 for food. We met at the venue and had a great time. I planned to order just some chips, but my friend suggested sharing and offered to order juice as well. We enjoyed ourselves and I watched her play arcade games. A few days later, my friend messaged me, stating that I owed her £35. When I asked why, she explained that it was for the drink and for the bowling. I questioned how it could cost that much, especially with the discount, and she admitted that she forgot to use it properly. I reminded her that she had said she would pay for me to go. After leaving me on read for a few days, she responded with, "When are you going to pay me back?" I told her I would pay her back when I could find a job, which would not be until at least the end of June when I finish my studies. She replied, "Okay, so never. Thanks a lot. Am I in the wrong for refusing to pay her back?" Bro, you totally did the right thing. You told her up front that you couldn't pay, and she agreed to cover it this time, right? Plus, you even tried to help her save some cash with that discount. I mean, £35 isn't a crazy amount for a friend, and honestly, it's just not worth risking your friendship over it. Real friendships don't keep score. Sometimes one person pays, sometimes the other does. It's all about enjoying time together, not the money. Now, if she's saying she didn't use the coupon, maybe she's just trying to get more from you. And if she's going back on her word, yeah, that raises some red flags. Just remember, a true friend wouldn't act like this. You're in the clear here. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.